All right, and we are live. Welcome back to a Drill Quest podcast. I am today's host, Julio Chavez. I am accompanied by Christian Avila and Oscar Hernandez, as always. And
What's
today we've
up?
got a special guest here, Jordan
Special.
Green. Yeah, dude.
Howdy, everybody.
Special.
Thanks for having me in, Julio. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, you are a one hell of a writer, one hell of a mechanic, and I've heard that you're pretty good at fishing. So
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I wouldn't say I'm like a crazy rider, but I have fun. I like riding jumps and fast trails and stuff. I've obviously ridden with you quite a few times. We used to do like the night rides and yeah, just like riding mountain bikes and just,
yeah. It's kind of crazy how mountain biking over the last like 5 years has kind of blown up, and I'm like really excited to see what they're gonna start doing. Like we were just having a conversation earlier about like Papago trails and the
For
whole like
sure.
stuff that they're trying to do there, right? And so now I know that uh, Oscar is like now getting into like mountain biking. He's been riding for about a year now, and Christian's wanting to get into it. Like it's really blowing up, and I'm kind of excited to see where that's gonna go.
For sure. And I mean, it's just a really fun sport, and obviously being active, like you're getting exercise, it's good for you mental health wise. Like, you can't ride a bike and just not have a good time. Like, you're not going to go home sad that day or anxious. Just kind of turns all those internal thoughts off and just lets you cruise. Like, you can only really focus on the trail where your front tire's going, really.
Yeah, and speaking on the mental health stuff, I know that a lot of us use it as like a tool to kind of like calm ourselves down.
For sure,
Um,
yeah. It's definitely therapeutic. Sorry, I don't know if I'm speaking loud enough into here. If you can hear me or not,
Sounds
but
good, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Oscar, I know that you've been writing more recently. So, like, what do you think is one of the, obviously, aside from the physical aspects of it, on the mental side of it, what do you think really helps you, or how it clears your mind, or
I would say like actually putting in the work as far as going uphill.
yeah,
That way you can actually enjoy.
yeah,
it's
Coming
rewarding.
down, it's rewarding, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then just send it pretty much.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that don't like to do the uphill part, and I don't know how I feel about that, because I've always enjoyed climbing. Um, and I don't know. I think it's kind of like, I don't know. You kind of have to put in the work to get your reward.
Definitely, definitely. I wouldn't say like I enjoy climbing, but same thing you were saying. Like it's rewarding when, say at South Mountain, with the super technical climbs where you might have to pick up the front wheel and then kind of J hop over. Like getting a technical climb is definitely rewarding and it's fun. You're like, damn, my physical strength is getting better, my cardio is getting better. I'm not having to stop as much. So there's definitely that aspect. But like for me, like the fun part is definitely going downhill.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
I don't know how that would translate into like jujitsu. Like Christian, if you can take the uphill part of riding and then the downhill fun of riding, how does that translate into like jujitsu?
That's a good one, man. Uh,
Because like, what would be the comparable like? I don't know the comparable.
the comparison you
Yeah,
can make between
so,
the two, yeah.
the only thing I could think of, the two, because I've done a little bit of mountain biking with this guy. The uphill is definitely a challenge. So that to jujitsu, it would be the start of a match. So looking for the takedown. So you're both sitting there hand fighting and pretty much wrestling to get the other person on their back, and for you to get into a dominant position. So I think, man, yeah, it has to be that. Just a stand-up game once you get on the ground, because once you get into a better position, you're able to, get your attacks going and work some submissions. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Like that's the only way I can compare it, right?
That's true. Yeah. And also, I would say when it's like a high drop,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's kind of relatable to jiu-jitsu as well, as far as
For sure, yeah.
pulling like those crazy like amnaris and stuff on like a 250-pound person.
Yeah,
or
so it's
something
all
like that.
commitment, right? That's
So you're
Dude.
saying like the start of the fight is like climbing, and then once you actually like get that person in a submission, or you're
yeah. Once you-
start when that's like downhill. It's like once you're in control is like when the downhill is starting.
yeah,
Like
that's
if you're comparing it to mountain biking. Okay.
exactly that's
Gotcha.
kind of how I meant it. Yeah,
Cool,
That's
cool.
exactly how I meant it, actually.
Makes sense.
No,
yeah.
that's a good comparison. Yeah, because I mean I'm not super familiar with fighting or wrestling or
Okay.
MMA or anything like that. So it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think any action sports really is pretty good. One for like that mental aspect, but also keeping you in shape, and then it kind of makes you like a little bit ready for when you do start doing more sports, different sports and stuff like
For
that.
sure, yeah, like the cross training aspect of it, like
Yeah, and it,
even like just cycling in general. Say like there's a lot of road cyclists that also mountain bike, or there's some BMXers that also mountain bike, and it can kind of coincide with it. But,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Which I have a problem with people that are like, oh, I've only ridden for so long, but they've been riding BMX bikes their whole life, or they've been
It's
riding.
like no, no, no.
Yeah,
Hold on.
exactly,
Let's
dude. It's
count
like,
that previous experience real quick, because, dude, like Kai, that dude has a BMX background, and he's just fucking cracked on the bike, dude. Like, and he's been riding maybe a couple years less than I have, and he's just insane. Like, way, way ahead of me, like leaps and bounds.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, no, it's just crazy, and some people do just have like the natural talent. But I feel like most of the time you see those guys just hop on and are just like natural with it. Like it's like, okay, let's look back at their previous background and see like what's kind of coming into play here. But
yeah. Yeah, I really wish I would have hopped on a bike when I was younger, cause, but also it's not just about like having the experience too. It's also about having um, like the willingness to just send it. And I saw this thing, this video where this guy was talking about like getting courage.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, you don't get the courage when you're like trying to do the jump or when you're trying to do the drop or the feature or whatever. You get the courage after you send it, and then you realize that you're not dead.
yeah, and you're like, shit, that wasn't that
You
bad.
know what I mean? Like,
I feel like part of that
love
is like you literally have to stop thinking.
yeah,
Because like if you're thinking about it, you're like, okay, how do I do this? I need to do this when I take lift off. I feel like you literally just need to like take that switch and just flip it down, and then you just get into that like tunnel vision mode where you're just like, okay, let's do this. Like I had to do that a lot, like riding in Utah with Kai and his buddy Daniel, and
Yeah.
obviously Caleb. He's just a nutcase, but
yeah.
it's just flipping that switch and just like getting into that tunnel vision kind of mode, I guess. And it's probably the same thing with MMA, where maybe you're fighting someone that's really good, and then you're just like, okay, just flip the switch. And same thing, really, any action sports or probably
Let
most
instincts
sports in
take
general.
over, huh?
Exactly,
That's such a
like
that's
almost like a primal instinct.
yeah.
sort of
Well,
thing.
I think
Survival.
I think
Yeah.
that's such a like
Tournaments.
a
Yeah,
key thing to
exciting.
learn though, like to learn it from a like young age, because it can be translated into different sports, but it can be
Oh
translated
yeah,
into
even like
your
driving,
career.
just everyday shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
into like your career, your learning, like if you aren't afraid to like commit to something, even though you know that you don't know if you can be successful or whatever. That's how like millionaires are made. They like go for it. They launch their companies. They like try to do all these things. They try to sell these products that he doesn't know if they're gonna work or not, and then he just like figures it out afterwards.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think I like the aspect of I don't know if it was one of your videos because I was going through your videos.
Yeah.
But I think he was trying to do like a 180 or a 360, and he failed a couple times.
I know
And
the
then
video you're talking about. Yeah.
And he finally like made it.
Yeah, yeah,
It kind of like touched the ground, and then the last time he just freaking kicked ass.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and it was like there's some audio, something along the lines of like, if you fail the first time and give up, like that's obviously not what it said, but it was something along the lines of like you got to just keep in pursuit, or else you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, if you fall and get scared and just never try it again, I mean that's what separates men and boys, I guess. Just that's
Yeah.
being able to get back on the horse and
yeah,
yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try to apply that into what I do now every day, and I feel like it's just been such a turning point in myself, like the development of myself, right? And
100%,
so,
yeah.
like when I was younger, it was more like kind of like just do my own thing and just go through the motions of the day, and now I'm like actually trying to do different things.
Yeah,
So I
let's
don't know if
challenge
that makes
ourselves.
sense.
Let's incorporate some new things. Like, and also just like I feel like that kind of keeps your brain healthy. Like if you're just used to the same shit over and over again, you get into robot mode, and then you're not thinking about other things. You could get stuck or just
Yeah.
get too comfortable. But if you incorporate new things, like me, like I was just mountain biking, I had nothing else to do. I incorporated fishing and hiking, other stuff where I don't feel like I just have one thing or another. So
Dude,
it's-
yeah, talking about fishing, bass. I've seen all of your like posts on Fishbrain.
Yeah.
Biggest bass that you've caught.
7 pounds, 11 ounces. But I caught one recently that said on scale 6.5 that looked like it was like a solid 8.
Dang.
But no, it's fun, man. And it's like, I'm not the kind of guy where it's like, oh, I'm not having fun if I'm not catching big ones. Like,
Yeah.
shit, I could go
Yeah.
out and not catch anything.
Yeah.
It's just chill.
Yeah.
And it's like similar vibe to mountain biking where it kind of just turns off those thoughts, but it's just it's different. Like it's more just chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I couldn't picture myself just being into fishing or just being into biking. You know, it's
Yeah.
incorporating other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
keeping yourself busy, keeping your mind busy and healthy, like your cognitive function, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's kind of there's also a skill to it, like learning how to fish, like being able to know.
yeah, it's almost kind of like an art. like,
Yeah.
down to the casting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird, like
It's like
when I
gambling.
first started.
Yeah, it is. in
My
a way.
buddy Troy, shout out my buddy Troy, who got me into bass fishing.
Yeah.
But like we would go out and he would catch like 10 fish in front of me, and I would catch like maybe one. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, we're throwing the same shit. Like what's going on here? And you know, just watch and see like how just down to how he's reeling or like the presentation of how he's casting out there. And it's like same thing with mountain biking. You know, you could be riding the same bike as your buddy, but he's fucking smoking you. You know, because he's got that cardio. Or even if you're someone that's like a professional runner and you get on mountain biking, it's a whole different kind of cardio.
Yeah.
And you're using all your muscles, your whole body. So it's just, yeah, like I said, like you could have a professional runner get on a mountain bike and it's going to be a challenge for them. Like they probably wouldn't be able to keep up with just, you know, even average riders like us. And yeah, that's crazy to think.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, and I know that all of us here are into fishing and stuff, so I think it'd be worthwhile to get a trip going, maybe someday where we can all like go out and see if we can catch some fish and
Oh yeah,
hang out.
Definitely.
That's your guy right there.
Soon.
Yeah.
Fishing.
Bass fishing, man, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's so much fun.
One
There's
thing
nothing better.
one thing that we want to do, and this is something that we've like recently started getting into, now that we're getting like kayaks and stuff, is we want to do a trip. I don't know if you've been out to Bartlett or not.
I have not. I think
Yeah.
I've only been out to Lake Pleasant. It's like the only lake here I've been to.
I gotcha. Yeah. So Bartlett is a runoff. It's a runoff field from Horseshoe Lake, and then like the whole like river that runs through it, right? So what
Okay,
we
yeah, the
wanna do-
Verde and Salt River, yeah, where they all kind of connect at some point, right?
what we want to do is we want to do like a 2-day kayaking trip where we like start at the top and then take like maybe a grill on someone's kayak and then like a couple of other like supplies like water on the other
Definitely.
person's kayak and stuff, and then just like
Just do kind of like a survival thing, but like yeah,
eat what we catch,
yeah,
basically.
that'd be pretty tight.
I don't know about the grill on the kayak.
Well, it sounds like a bad idea, but it also sounds like a really good idea.
Well, it's gonna be 2 days, so
Let's
we're
get
gonna
MRE
like,
heaters
camp
instead. dude.
somewhere
Come
too.
Dude, they make the foldable grates that you just set over a campfire. too.
Yeah.
Do
Like
they?
something tiny, yeah.
That's
You
true.
could
Yeah, you
fit
just
in the
gotta
bag.
bring like a flint, like the. Is that what it's called? Like the.
Oh, the
your
steel and
knife where you
flint, the little, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are tight. I remember going to like a gun show when I was a little kid and seeing that and just being like, damn, this shit's badass. Like,
Yeah, I don't even want the guns.
yeah, right? No, exactly.
Just make sparks.
Right?
No, straight up.
Speaking of kid, so how old were you when you started just riding bikes? Was it like, did you start with BMX and then?
Yeah, I mean, I was never like a cyclist when I was a kid. You know, I got into BMX for a little bit. I really liked dirt jumps, but I was never super good. Like, I couldn't 180, you know, I could barely J-hop. But no, I always like really loved dirt jumps for some reason. Just the feeling of getting air and just that kind of weightless feeling, like flying kind of. But no, I've always liked that for sure. But no, I mean, I've been riding bikes since I was 4 or 5 years old. Never hopped on training wheels. Just I have all older sisters, and they kind of just pushed me on a bike, and I just rode it until I crashed, and then that was it. And I knew how to ride a bike. But
Damn. Are you from Arizona? Native?
yeah, born and raised. Yeah, I lived in California when I was like 3 years old, but obviously I don't really count that. But yeah, Arizona native for sure.
Dang. Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, like I said, I wish I would have hopped on a bike when I was a kid. Like, actually hopped on a bike. Like, I had bikes and I rode around, like, the
Dirt
neighborhood
bikes?
and
No,
stuff.
exactly. Just like regular
Yeah.
kid shit. Just
I had
cruising around the
quads.
neighborhood,
Quads.
being a shithead.
I had quads. That doesn't really count as, like a two-wheeler, though. It's because two-wheelers, you, like, learn how to, like, balance better. And on a quad,
True.
it's kind of cheating. Like, I don't know. I had
to a
quads.
certain
Quads are
extent,
quads
to a
are
certain
sketch
extent.
though, dude.
Yeah.
Like people that are actually cracked on a quad, like you see people hit like fat ass jumps, like
Oh.
moto style shit, but like
Yeah.
on a quad, like that's pretty insane. Like you're like 2-3 times the weight difference is just like throwing that thing around. Like they're doing
Freestyle.
like whips too, dude. Like
Yeah.
getting sideways
Yeah.
with
I've
it.
seen
That's
backflips with a
insane.
quad.
Quad god.
These motherfuckers are crazy.
It's funny. I've got some moto buddies that also ride mountain bikes, but they always make fun of quad riders like that. They're like quad god.
Quad guy. The quad father.
Yeah, exactly. I like that one.
Yeah. Dang. Well, yeah, like I said, I only grew up with quads when I was a kid. And yeah, I really wish I would have gone on that different experience, but
For sure.
I mean, it's okay, I guess.
Have you had any surgeries, any bad accidents or anything with bikes?
Broken a collarbone. This one right here. In fact, it's still a little bit goofy looking, but
When was
dang.
this?
I want to say 3 years ago or so.
Was that your
Yeah.
first or?
That was like the first big injury. I mean, I've had a couple, scrapes and bruises, some stitches and stuff, but that was the first bone that I've broken, or at least like confirmed that I've broken. But yeah, I went to the orthopedic after. Is that what they call it? Where like the bone specialist, where they like do
Yeah.
X-rays and stuff.
I think so.
Anyway, so yeah, I went to the orthopedic and they're like, it already started fusing, but like you should have gotten a plate in there because it snapped and went like that, but it fused like that. And they said I made myself a new AC joint. So I look in the
Wait,
mirror and like
what?
if I just like stand like that and I'm not like lifting my shoulders up, like this shoulder's physically lower than the other
Yeah.
one because like the AC joint is moved down. But no, that's about it. I've been pretty lucky to not have any serious concussions or anything crazy like that. So
How did that happen? Just jumping or?
So yeah, jumping out at Pyramid Peak, it was a new jump I hadn't hit yet and just had a bad transition on the lip. And I hit a little too fast, so, landing's right here. I over cleared it and went obviously nose heavy, like almost vertical. Like that shit was fucking
Dang.
scary. Like
Yeah,
I remember just looking
yeah.
at it, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna suck. Like this is gonna be a hospital trip just midair, like the thoughts as you're about to fall. But yeah, front tire first, just that's about all I remember. I'm sure I had like a minor concussion, but I stood up and then like I try to lift up my arm and I just like it's just like limp and I'm like, oh shit, like that's a broken collarbone or broken shoulder or dislocation or something.
Conor McGregor status?
Yeah. No, but I knew something was wrong like right away, and this was pretty stupid of me. I was out riding by myself, but luckily there happened to be like some pit bikers out there, which normally mountain bikers we fucking hate pit bikers because they
Yeah.
they mess up the dirt jumps,
Tear
they
up the
mess up the
trails,
trails,
yeah.
but Pyramid Peak, I mean, people have been riding dirt bikes out there forever.
Yeah.
Anyways, getting back to the point, so luckily there was some pit bikers out there, and they had some old beat up truck, but they ended up taking me back to my truck, so I was chill, so didn't have to like walk multiple miles back.
Yeah. Yeah.
but, yeah, that's
Dang, it's crazy, dude. Like, also, one thing you have to take into consideration is the type of terrain that we ride. So I was up in, damn, where was I? I just forgot where I was at. Minnesota. I was in
Everywhere.
Minnesota
Okay.
last week, and I rode
Minnesota.
with a buddy. Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. I rode up with a buddy of mine, and we rode a double black, right? Okay, double black. It's supposed
What
to
is
be
that?
like it's supposed to be like a really advanced trail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like one level below a pro trail.
Yeah, yeah.
Pro trail.
Dude, I swear it was like, I don't know if it was.
Disneyland.
Yeah, so it had like a couple of jumps, but everything was like really soft. There was leaves everywhere. Like there was really like low
It's
consequence.
like where's the double black in this?
Yeah, and so the problem I feel like when it comes to specifically Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Southern California riding, like Simi Valley area and Big Bear and stuff,
Yeah.
is like the type of riding that we have here. If you crash, there's like high consequence.
Oh yeah,
There's
sharp,
rocks.
jagged fucking rocks that are like
Or cacti.
knives. Yeah, no,
Or
exactly.
everything.
It's not forgiving.
Yeah,
Is the biggest thing.
yeah. There's no padding. There's
And-
no leaves.
And just like as far as like just blasting through rock gardens, like we just have the chunkiest. Like there's trails where it's literally all rock. Like you don't have any dirt. It's
Yeah.
just any dirt that actually is there is just crushed up rock. Like the dirt is non-existent. But
Yeah, yeah. Especially
Does
that.
this have caffeine or I'm just
Yeah.
getting hyped
yeah,
up?
no,
I
it's
wanna
got a
fucking
lot of this is
ride.
like 200
150.
milligrams.
I think
I'm
you
about
just,
to go ride.
Yeah, these things get you cracked out.
Oh,
you're just
yes.
getting hard off of the fucking bike talk right now, bro.
No, it's funny because I brought the Red Bull. I'm like, I'm gonna wake myself up. Like, I don't know if I can think of anything to say. And I saw the yerba. I'm like, yeah, yerba.
Yeah.
Oh,
Made the obvious choice.
shit. Feels good. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry. I was just,
No, you're good. You're
I don't know
good.
if it was just the conversation that got me riled up or.
Geeked up.
Fuck it, let's end it right now. Let's go right.
Let's go right.
Let's go fucking
We
right.
got the instant 360.
Hey, that
right
sounds
there.
like a good plan.
That's right.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, but like it's so high consequence and it's kind of crazy. Like people that are in other places and they come here and they're like, yeah, you ride or they run into like locals and they're like, yeah, like what do you ride, double blacks, whatever, and then they take them out to like national or like all these other
It's
you know,
like, hold up,
trails.
pause. Like
Yeah.
this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah, they're like, holy shit, you guys ride this? Like, and it's that same experience across other people that I've talked to in the bike industry, you know, working where I work at now.
For sure.
And it's like, it's kind of insane. And it makes me want to like go somewhere else. And even though I'm not a super good rider, I feel like if I went somewhere else, I could be like comparatively a really good rider.
True. And I mean, same could be said like the opposite way too. Like you could go to some other place and just be like, holy shit, like there's nothing like this where I'm from. Like say, you know, it's hard to compare like technical stuff to flowy stuff
That's
or,
true.
you know, loamy
That's
to
true.
rocky, but
Yeah.
you know, we go ride a loamer in say like Canada or something or, you
Mhm.
know, PNW and shit, we'll probably be shitting bricks too. Like like some of the stuff like we're not used to super duper steep stuff. We're just
Yep.
used to like gnarly, rugged and unforgiving terrain.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, same could be said like, you know, going somewhere like that and riding as well.
That is
So,
true. Yeah.
I want to get into jumps. Like, where can I go to start doing jumps? Pretty much dirt jumps.
Yeah, so we are talking about it earlier. So Papago, really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, something we were talking about earlier as well is like they're trying to make it to where, you know, they can get funding from the state and just make it legal. Like the biggest thing is just we don't want those jumps to get torn down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, there's a couple other guys that have been digging out there, you know, for 20 plus years.
Jeff's
so
been
it's
out there for a long time.
yeah.
I saw an sorry to cut you off, but I actually saw an Instagram of like a group of guys that go around and like they create like little tracks and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you guys are familiarized with those, but they have an Instagram page and then they go build like around Phoenix. I think the Papago.
Okay, yeah, and I know there's Papago Trail Builders, which that's actually my buddy Cam, and shout out Cam, he's hella cool, and he's been going to all these meetings and stuff, trying to get like the community involved and getting people signed up and just trying to get, like I said, Papago legal. And really the biggest thing is just not having the jumps torn down, not having Karens coming up and messing with you while you're riding bikes, because there's definitely a
Word.
fair share of that.
Word.
Yeah, and then back to your question about jumps, Pyramid Peak. It's another one of my, I guess, home turf areas. But I kind of learned how to ride jumps there. There's a lot of stuff that's just more beginner-esque and just more forgiving. We were also talking about Mesa Trails earlier. That's a good one. That one's not as forgiving just because it's like almost concrete level dirt. Like I think they do like soil tack or soil tap, whatever you call it, where you mix it in with clay or whatever, glue, and it's literally just like concrete. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's kind of what I recommend. And really just like people forget just going back to the basics, you know, just J-hopping, getting comfortable and stuff like that. Like, and, you know, just riding trails even, like giving it a little hop every so often, like hitting a gap and just building your way up. That's a big
Okay.
thing, like steps rather than jumps, if that makes sense. Like you got to step your way into the jumps.
I think that was my next question. If there's like fundamentals to it, as far as you know, from a beginning standpoint, is there things that I can practice on that would slowly turn into like those high jumps that you always take and
So yeah, like I was saying, just about like the basics, like getting comfortable J-hopping. Say like if you're learning how to, you know, get better with drops, it sounds stupid, but literally just like starting on a curb and just getting comfortable lifting that front wheel off to where you know you're not going to go front wheel heavy and, you know, endo, because I feel like that's the biggest thing people worry about with jumps and drops is going, you know, nose first. And like I was talking about earlier, that obviously has happened to me before. So it's not fun and no one wants to do it. But yeah, it's definitely part of learning, and you probably will crash a couple times learning, and that's just part of the fun. But yeah,
Yeah, I
there's
think-
definitely, like you said, the fundamentals and just working your way up, starting with small lips. Like tabletops are perfect for learning because there's, you know,
Low
pretty low
consequence.
risk. Yeah.
Yeah, just I think another thing that makes you be a better rider is just being aware that you're gonna crash, being
No,
aware that
exactly.
you're gonna get hurt.
Because if you're just trying to control the situation, like that's when you end up fucking up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
Oh,
not
and
ending well.
and trusting your bike.
That's my ritual. I talk to the
Exactly.
bike
Talk to
before I go downhill.
Yeah,
Little
Oh,
massage.
and that's
It's
another
okay.
Trust your bike. Yeah, I do,
Yeah.
bro. Cause yeah.
that's another big thing too is like bike setup, especially for jumps. Like you can't have soft suspension for jumps because you're gonna get bucked or you're gonna bottom out and it's gonna be a bad time. So slow rebound, high air pressure. That's a big thing. If you have like compression dampening settings, making sure to adjust those accordingly. So yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot that goes into it, but like I said, baby steps and working your way in, and you kind of learn everything else along the road. But yeah,
dang. Yeah, I think you're already on your way though, dude. You have a hardtail and you're like jumping stuff out in Estrella and
Well, that's because I grew up with the mongoose. I didn't know what a Haro bike was,
there you go. Yeah,
and I was doing like bunny hops and like my own little tricks with the
yeah,
mongoose.
the fundamentals, dude.
But then, yeah, one of my buddies had a Haro with a Redline, I forgot, and he let me borrow his bike, and then it was like super light. I'm like, whoa, what the
You're like,
heck?
damn.
yeah. It's crazy how like all the old heads come into no disrespect, but all the old heads like come into the bike shop and they're talking about like I remember when Diamondback was like the shit back in the day.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yep,
when
yep,
like
get that
all
all
these
the
other
time.
bikes, and I'm like,
Schwinn especially.
Yeah,
It's like,
dude.
oh, I got this Schwinn at a garage sale. This is a good bike, right? And they're like, I paid $200, and you're like, knowing that the bike was probably like $150 brand new from Walmart, and you're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, like it's not bad. They're not
Yeah.
the same brand. Like they got bought out by Pacific Cycles, and
yeah,
they're kind of a big box name now. But
yeah, yeah. It kind of makes
yeah.
me wish I would have opened up a bike shop or a bike manufacturer when I was like 7.
right? It's like shit. I should have been buying houses when I was still on my
No,
my
dude.
dad's nutsack.
So I always
That
say
shit always cracks me up.
I always say my biggest financial mistake in 2008 was being in the 6th grade.
right? Should have been investing,
Not
dude.
having
dude.
no money.
You should have
fucking
invented
house.
Bitcoin. Come on.
That's what happens,
saying,
man.
dude.
Girls, you go through puberty.
Yeah.
It kind of feels fucked though, like the timing of everything, like especially with like housing and with Bitcoin and investments and all that. It's like I feel like we barely missed like I don't know. I feel like if I would have been 10 years older than what I am, I would have been able to
You
have
could have had a
like,
house by now. You could have
yeah,
had
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, like-
and I think our generation is just kind of getting screwed out of that. And like part of it, anybody can work hard and, overcome and adapt and overcome. And that's
Yeah.
important too. Like we need to realize, hey, this is the world we live in. Shit's expensive.
Yeah.
Shit's constantly going
Yeah.
up. So instead of bitching about it, we just got to adapt and overcome. And yeah, no,
Which is
exactly.
true.
Just quit bitching, really. I mean, and shit, I catch myself all the time. I'm like, why am I complaining about this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
instead of complaining, like, do something to, because talking really doesn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta have action.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's just still kind of fucked.
No, exactly. No,
It's still
no,
kind of fucked.
no, 100%.
But yeah, and there's a lot of ways to like get into it now. I mean, honestly, one of the best ideas that I've heard so far is get like 4 of your other buddies and like buy your first house with your 4 buddies.
That's the way to go,
You know
honestly.
what I mean? And then like you each get a room, you each like live in a house for like the first 3 years or whatever. But then by that time you guys have equity, you guys are able to like sell it or whatever and put that money as a down payment.
Damn, dude, that's smart.
And it's like that's like what you have to do now, but it's what you have to do. Like you didn't have to do that before, but that's how to like break into the market now and have enough capital so you can actually like put a down payment, whether it's with an FHA or whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Exactly.
And so I think like that's one of those things where it's like stop bitching and just do it.
No, exactly. Like adapt and overcome. Like, yeah, this is getting harder and harder, and it sucks. It's bullshit, but we could still, yeah, exactly, adapt and overcome.
I mean,
and
we
just-
have this conversation all the time, and I feel like we talked about it the other day, right?
Yeah.
We were like, your buddy just bought a house in California, and it was like not that cheap, but he did it. you know?
But the thing
yeah,
is,
in
they're
California, that's
used to
impressive.
it. They're
Yeah.
they're used to it though.
Yeah.
living, because I'm from California. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not Californian. You're Arizona. For those stickers out there.
Nah, that shit's so stupid. Like, you're gonna complain about people wanting to come and have the luxuries. I don't know, and I get it, but like, I have this buddy Noah who just moved down from California, and he had to change his plate really quick because he was getting like people trying to run him off the road,
Oh
and like
damn.
just people like, yeah, people are insane. Like, and I'm not gonna get super into it, but yeah, people definitely get crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because they feel like that that migration of people over to Arizona is causing like the housing to go
And it
up.
is. I mean, it definitely is, but it's like, you're really going to be mad at someone for trying to get away from, spending too much.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
can't really be mad at someone. Like, yeah, you can have your thoughts about it. Like, yeah, it's annoying definitely that more and more people are coming. It's making it expensive for us. But at the same time, like, they're trying to just avoid their bullshit, They're just trying to
Yeah. There's a lot
find
of
more
factors.
financial freedom and such.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors of what's causing the houses to get like a lot more expensive and stuff, but we just gotta do what we gotta do.
Exactly.
And figure it out.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah.
What are your goals here? Let's say 5 years. Do you have any like things in mind? You're working towards or
Man, I'm not too picky. Just stability, really. That's my main goal, is just stability. Like, there's a lot of people like, oh, I want to have this many cars and this and that. It's like, if anything, I want to downsize and just be comfortable. Like, I'm the kind of guy, like, I want to have my own little property, kind of do like an off-grid thing, have solar panels, a well, and not be like one of those crazy kooks that's just like out by himself, but not too far up, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we live in a world where everything costs money nowadays, and just doing it as simple as possible and as cheap as possible, I think, is important. And living with less and being able to do more when you live with less, kind of thing. So,
Do you see yourself staying in the bike industry, or
it's hard to say because I have like a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's rewarding, especially like fixing something where like I don't know what the hell is going on here, and like having to do diagnosis and stuff. But at the same time, I mean, you're in the industry. It doesn't pay great, especially working in bike shops. I mean, who do you know that works in a bike shop that's making more than $25 an hour, other than the owner of the shop?
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not something that pays super well. It's a passion job for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't say I see myself staying in it for sure. Just I would love to, but I don't think it pays well enough to where I could,
Yeah.
But
I gotcha.
yeah.
Are we good over there? Or
Good.
Yeah, we're good. He's just setting
Weird.
up just having technical.
Dude, these GoPro 12 batteries are terrible.
Yeah.
Just die
You
super
can-
quick or what?
Dude, they die super quick.
Here, you can just connect it to this.
This thing's
You
supposed
said it's
to
a
charge
10?
it. The 12.
12, okay. How many is there now? Is that the newest
I
one?
think it's the newest one, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, dude, this thing's
Oh well.
junk, guys. Don't get the
You wanna
12.
plug
Yeah.
it in?
Not yet.
There you go. Cool.
Sweet. Well, fixed.
Do you have any questions?
All right. Well,
No, man, I'm kind of just listening, dude. I'm an avid podcast listener, right? So I drive a lot. So I feel like I'm just listening to another podcast.
Yeah, no, 100%.
This one, but today's just about bikes, right? So
He actually had a
it's kinda
bike
cool, man.
recently. Well, how long has it been? A
It
couple
was
months
alright.
ago.
Yeah,
He fixed it. You bought it. It was
Yeah,
a GT.
it was a
Fixed it
GT.
up.
it was a pile.
Took
That's
him.
cool.
Made it like a converted to a single by 8, I think it was, and
That's tight, yeah.
put some
Kind
pedals
of just
and
fix it up.
grips. Yeah,
That's
different
kind of
bars.
the start of getting the passion going, is like building up a bike and making it look sick, and you're like, damn, hell yeah, I did that shit.
Did that.
Like,
Then I wrote it. Then I was like, "Oh shit, Steve."
Yeah.
Then I went to track and like bought tools and like try to figure out how to like tune it and stuff
Yep.
myself. It was cool. It's fun. Well, I'm a mechanic for my day job, so
Oh yeah,
that
it's
was
like-
kind of like went hand in hand. I was like, this is. I was like, man, I'd rather work on bikes than cars, dude.
yeah, definitely a lot more simple and a lot less hassle.
But I need to get a new bike. What do you guys recommend as a like, trek or I don't know where should I
Dude,
start? Just
Anything at a bike shop is going to be good nowadays, and we're seeing a lot of these like direct consumer brands.
Mm-hmm.
I know Julio's familiar with YT. You had a YT capper for a while, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and YT I think does a good job of having like super affordable bikes, but still making them decent quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Common Sol is another direct to consumer that's kind of doing a good job with that. Canyon, another one's Fazari. I don't really like Fazari, but
Oh, why?
uh, I just feel like they're like the minions, like the Fazari train, you know, like, and I'm not saying that because they're like, you know, it's a Mormon company or anything like that, but like they're definitely like a certain way, and it's kind of how Pivot is too. And like I ride a Pivot, I still have a Pivot Mach 6, but you know, the Pivot dudes that pull up to South Mountain, I'm sure you know very well, they're very douchey and just kind of think they're the
Can
shit.
be, for sure. Yeah, it can be. So it's more like if you're not riding a Fazari, then you're not riding
Exactly,
properly,
like you kind of get looked down upon. And yeah, and I worked at Pivot for a while, and it's like the same thing I thought about Pivot before I started working there held true. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
I
But
see.
yeah,
Do you like e-bikes?
dude,
Are you a
e-bikes
fan?
are fucking fun. I
Yeah?
don't get why
Dude,
people hate on them so much.
like e-bikes, dude.
No,
I like
we still get
e-bikes.
people that come in and complain, oh, they're tearing up the trails, and like maybe like electric motorcycles are like Surons and stuff, but e-bikes, you're not really seeing them jack up the trails too much.
Because
Yeah,
it's
you
just assist, right?
exactly, just pedal assist, at least with like what most trail systems are allowing. Like I think Haas still doesn't allow e-bikes at all technically, but like they're not writing tickets or anything, but you really don't have enough torque to physically like do a burnout or anything and, you know, create a rut in the trail. You probably could if you like held your brakes, but no, dude, they're super fun. And I think the problem that we see with them is just it's getting people who wouldn't normally be into cycling. So we're seeing a lot of dipshits on the trails that are, you know, making them look bad, but there's plenty of normal riders that have e-bikes as well and, you know, aren't giving that bad name to it. But e-bikes definitely have that kind of negative thought. Like when most bike riders think of e-bikes, like, ugh, e-bikes. Like you think of them just passing you by, like, yeah. But no, they're fun, dude. Like anybody who hates on e-bikes, I just tell them, dude, go ride one and tell me what you think. Like,
What? I think
it's just like what people need to realize. It's not the bike, it's the person.
I think
and that's always.
I think that's part of the problem. Getting people that are like these purists that are like, I'll never ride an e-bike and I hate e-bikes and they don't belong on the trails. It's like, well, have you ridden one?
No, exactly, and that's a missing link because, you know, any normal cyclist or mountain biker more so that rides an e-mountain bike, they're like, dude, that's fun, that's cracked, like I want one, like,
Yeah.
and I mean they're expensive for sure, and like I get, like I said, like people's idea about it, you know, it's just a bunch of idiots out there that don't know what they're doing with more torque than they know what to do with, but.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I feel like that's more like few and far between with those kind of people, and it's just it's easy to think about like the negative things rather than thinking about the positive things.
Yeah.
Especially for something like that that's still just not totally like accepted yet, I guess, in the community,
I think e-bikes are
in the
great.
industry.
When you ride your bike, you get in shape because you want to ride longer and you want to have more fun and you want to spend more time on the bike outside.
For sure,
An
yeah.
e-bike allows someone that doesn't have that conditioning to do that.
Exactly. And then you see people that say used to be really into biking that, you know, couldn't really do it because of, say, a heart condition, or maybe they have like severe asthma or some sort of lung issues or whatever. You know, it kind of opens up that ability for those people that wouldn't normally be able to get back into it to, you know, still be
Yeah.
able to ride.
Yeah. Dang, agreed.
Yeah.
Do you like e-bikes, or would you buy one, or have you ridden one?
I've never.
Oh.
Never have.
You should. They're super
But
fun.
they look fun.
Amigos, shout out to Amigos. You should go. They do e-bike rentals.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try it out. I see all the older guys riding e-bikes at South Mountain
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and I was gonna say South Mountain and Haas are like the two funnest places I feel like to ride e-bikes. And keep in mind, those are probably some of the only places I've ridden e-mountain bikes. But it's really nice there because you have a lot of climbing.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of just enjoy the downhills more. But
Yeah, I like South Mountain because everyone has their little groups of riders.
yeah,
Because usually I ride on this side.
yeah,
And it's all Estrella Mountain and Fins.
yeah.
And there's no one ever at the trails. There's like a few onesies or twosies.
No community. It's just you go out there to ride. Yeah.
Yeah, by myself all the time.
No,
'Cause-
it's definitely cool having that community, and I feel like back to what I was talking about, doing the night rides with Julio back in the day. You know, the Wednesday night rides we used to do. That kind of motivates you to get out there because you're like, oh, I'm gonna go ride with this friend and this friend. And it's like, yeah, I want to go do that. versus, you know, it's like, okay, I'm gonna plan to go ride this day by myself, and then you get there and you're like, do I really want to go out and ride by myself? No, but definitely, I mean, anything like that, any action sport's gonna be more fun with a group or at least a couple other people.
And it makes you want to ride harder too.
For
When you
sure,
ride
yeah,
with
like
people.
kind of pushing your limits. Like
Yeah.
you see, okay, he did that trick. I'm gonna try to do that, or
Yeah.
he made that climb. I'm gonna try to make that one. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of friendly competition sort of thing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's crazy. I feel like I owe a lot. I know it's gonna sound cheesy, but I feel like I owe a lot to the mountain biking community because
Cheesy.
I've gotten jobs from it. I've like met lifelong friends from it. It's kind of
Oh, for sure.
crazy. Yeah, it's like you find this common thing that you both enjoy, and it's like a positive, right? It isn't like, I don't know, just gambling or whatever it is, right? That's
Yeah.
negative. And you guys bond over that, and then it leads to like so many things.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate to have been part of that, and I still want to continue to be part of it.
Yeah, no, and like I said, like I would love to stay in the industry, you know, if I could find something that's gonna
Yeah,
eventually pay a little bit better.
dude, I think being a rep, I think that's kind of like where it's at.
Definitely.
You
Yeah.
can be like a brand rep.
Idea.
Dude,
Um,
sponsors.
that's what I'm saying.
That's so hard to do. I mean,
Yeah, there's like a
I
few.
feel like that's just like a lot to live up to. Like, you have deals where you have to be, say, like making posts every day, or you got to do this many races, and it's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do what I want to do. Like, I don't want to take the fun out of it just to have it be a job, you know.
It's understandable.
And that's any hobby, whether it be, you know, fishing, biking, anything like that. Like, if you do it for a career, it's gonna kind of make it suck a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to do it on your terms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like being a rep would be pretty chill.
Yeah.
That, or I don't know, doing like a merch company, you know, like jerseys, shorts, kind of like what Jeremy did with Rotation a while back.
Yeah.
And then what was the second company called?
Stealth.
Stealth. Yeah, stealthy.
Stealthy.
Yeah, that was short lived.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool. I don't know
remember
why
that.
he gave up on it, but he's like, the vision changed, guys. I'm like,
Yeah, I think yeah, you kind of have to have a different kind of motivation to keep going.
exactly.
And yeah, maybe his motivation just fell off or something.
No,
So-
exactly. And he was also juggling like a bunch of other stuff. So like, back to what we were talking about before, just juggling everything and like still finding time. You know, that's the biggest thing, is just having the time to do shit. And if you
Yeah.
don't have the time, nothing's gonna get done. You know. So,
Yeah. For context, Rotation was an apparel company that we kind of started here in the Valley, maybe like 3 years ago, I would say,
that sounds about right.
back in
yeah.
like 2020.
Yeah.
And I know that actually you were like a writer for them.
He was I was one of the first people he hit up.
Yeah.
Me and do you know Daniel Broadstock?
Yes.
Yeah, so me and him were like the first couple people, and then it was Kai, and then we started seeing more and more people in California. Like, the dude actually like built a cool little brand from the ground up, and then just
Yeah.
he changed the name, like started a new company, and then it kind of just fell off, which sucks because I mean, I actually like the products. Like he made some cool stuff, and it was
Yeah.
cool to be kind of like part of a thing. You know, not be sponsored, but you know, more of like a rep thing. You know.
Yeah.
Repping a cool brand that you actually like enjoy and not feeling like it's just, you know,
Yeah.
bullshit. But
Yeah.
no, he was pretty successful with doing that. And then just, I don't know if there was like an issue with the name, like if there was copyright issues with Rotation, but he kind of just stopped completely with that. But no, it's hard to have the motivation to just continue doing stuff like that, and like you really got to have the drive, and yeah, it's tough.
Maybe we should launch our own.
Well, I think that's one of our goals. Well, at least mine. To have a brand kind of like Monster and Red Bull. You know, they
For sure, and
Yeah,
do
you
like
always-
sports
everything-
programs and
You always
Yeah.
talk about Baja team.
get people
Baja-
stoked.
That's
yeah.
your thing right there.
I
the
always
Baja-
talk about because I grew up, you know, going to the dunes in
Yeah.
when I was a kid in Mexico, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, I always dreamed about having a Baja team, or
For
at least
sure.
racing ones. But also, I played football growing up and some other sports, but I was never into like just the regular American, you know, sports. I was always
Exactly.
into like X Games, like
The cool shit, action
yeah, all
sports.
the,
Yeah.
action sports. So
No, I was the same way. Like I could never get into like watching sports. Like it was so hard for me. Like I just feel like I didn't have like the patience. Or
yeah.
whatever, but
And then I grew up around that era where it was Travis Pastrana and then Brian
The GOAT.
Deegan, all
Yep.
all the shit going on.
What was that
between
one
them.
show they had on like Fuel TV with
Nitro Circus?
No, it was like I want to say it was like Krusty Dirt Demons.
Oh, Krusty
Oh,
That
Demons.
shit
yeah.
was so
Damn,
sick,
I
dude.
forgot about
That was so cool. I remember seeing that and just being like, they were just like that punk style, just
Yeah.
like kind of like not
That's
giving a
sick.
fuck. Just
Oh yeah.
that was what I loved, like not being part of this big conglomerate and just being like, your own person and not feeling like, I don't know. I just feel like most regular sports are so programmed in
Yeah.
just a certain way, and it's not individual. I like individual sports.
You have to
where
join a
it's-
league and stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's
it's
like
your
the
own
freedom
rules.
aspect. Yeah.
It's. I mean, I like being part of a team, but I think that's another cool thing about extreme sports is it's just you and your bike or you and your skateboard.
Yeah, definitely more individual. Yeah.
And it shows if you're
Personal.
putting in the work or not, because if you do it well, and also because your life depends on it. So
Exactly.
one
Yeah.
little- and
Making sure you don't die is always important for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would definitely be a good goal to like start something like that so that we can get like those. I don't know. I feel like we would have a special approach to it and not try to be like this giant thing where like you have to follow these rules. Because the one thing that Jeremy was doing that was cool is he was like, okay, you guys can rep this, but you rep it in your own way. Rep it in
No,
your own
exactly. He
style.
wasn't like, hey, he wasn't sending a laundry list of like details of stuff we need
Exactly.
to do every day and like, oh, you got to be at this race and this race. It
Yeah.
was like, hey, I'll send you some cool stuff if you
Yeah.
shout me out. Do your thing.
Yeah,
And I feel like more stuff needs to be like that. But
we can do it.
it's
we can
For sure.
What when you hear Thrill Quest, like what does it make you think of? Do you think I don't
Action
know, like
sports, I
yeah,
guess.
Yeah,
maybe it's just because that's what we're talking about right now. But
yeah.
Thrill Quest.
Like I'm here
Just
like
badass shit,
I
I
just
guess,
need
like-
feedback. Yeah, I would want to have like another logo and maybe like because we always talk about Thrill Quest being like the parent brand, and then just start like little
Branching off.
branching off
Yeah.
like that. So I
Little
think that would be
spin-offs.
cool.
Definitely, yeah.
And just hey, you want to be part of it, go for it.
It's like, okay, we got our off-road racing team here. We got our, fishing podcast
Yeah.
here, this or that. Like
That'll
kind
be-
of get into
Bass
different
Pro
genres.
who?
Yeah.
Bass Pro who? Cool, man. Yeah, well, yeah, Jordan. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on the podcast here.
Thanks
and
for having me,
taking
man.
some time to talk.
It's been cool. Yeah, I was kind of nervous about it. I'm like, never done a podcast before, and I was like, I just don't want to be like boring or feel like I ruined the podcast, Like,
Yeah,
I don't
but
know, but here we are.
that's what everyone says. They're always like, our first time was we're nervous and we're always gentle. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
We're gentle, don't worry.
you go along with it like this guy, start your own channel on YouTube
Yeah,
and
there
start
you go.
talking to the camera.
Surprise.
Yeah. Surprise, motherfucker.
That's right.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah.
One last question: what do you listen to when you go ride?
That's a good question.
The playlist.
I'm not like a normal person when it comes to music. I like all different genres. Like people are like, oh yeah, I listen to everything but country, or I listen to everything but rap. Like I don't think you can put on any genre where I'm just gonna be like, oh, I fucking hate this shit. Maybe like some weird, like unheard of, like emo core. Like I'm sure there's some weird genre I haven't heard of out there where I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't the vibe, but. Most main genres you could put on and I'll vibe with, but
Yeah.
I really like electronic music, honestly, and it
Yep.
sounds cringy. You think of like raves and just
It's my wife's kind of music.
pandemonium. But no, I definitely like some electronic music, rap, obviously, indie, rock, just about anything, man. But definitely, I feel like what gets me hype is like electronic music. So I'm not focused on the words. I'm just kind of like that tunnel vision thing we were talking about earlier. Exactly.
Yeah, that focus.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I like listening to Sublime, but like the more faster kind of ska-ish punk.
Yeah, like an early Sublime.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember what the album or project was, but there's like songs that weren't even songs. It was more just like kind of a skit thing, like where they'd be talking to people, but there would be like kind of reggae music going along
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like
Um,
my Ruka and songs like that.
And on this album, I remember there was like some songs that they actually released like later on as like a full song, but like you see kind of what it started as, and that was kind of cool to see. But
Yeah,
Sublime's a vibe for sure.
Sublime, cool, man.
There we go.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, awesome. This has been the Thrill Quest podcast. And
Thrill Quest.
Thrill Quest.
Thrill Quest.
Come on, your turn.
Yeah.
Thrill Quest. Oh, damn. Dude, that was good.
I
Cool.
have my
Thanks.
Insta 360, so we gotta go right, and then you can just.
Hell yeah, we'll do like a follow cam sort of thing. We should all just get like GoPros on and see what kind of cool shit we could do. Especially with the 360, because you could get like
Yeah.
the front and the back, so that's tight.
Yeah.
Well,
sure,
cool
man,
guys.
action.
Thanks again for having me. This is sweet.
And then if people want to see your videos, the audience wants to see your videos, where can they look you up?
Shit, putting me on the spot. Hold on. Just in case I forget my own handle here.
Damn.
So my Instagram is gonna be JRDNGRNE222.
Okay.
Don't forget the 222.
Right here.
No, but
Link to it right here.
Yep,
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Give
I
me
also have a
more work.
YouTube, but I don't really do anything with it. I haven't posted in like years, so we'll just forget about that. But
Okay.
yep. Cool.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks again.
Yep.